So Phil,
Duff.
you didn't stick around. None of your team stuck around. Is that because those assholes at Star were revving the fuck out of that bike?
Dude, I just had to listen to a Yamaha 450 for an hour and 10 minutes. I didn't need to listen to a Yamaha 250F for another hour, bouncing off the rev limiter. You know,
I'll give it to you too. We also were at a burnout point in your direction too. We put a hole in that asphalt too. That hole's going to be there forever. So that was our bad.
The club semi was downwind too.
Oh, dude. Duff, I thought you guys blew it up. I was very happy, but then it started right back up because it just ran out of gas, and I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, just needed a little fuel.
Jesus.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. Like, you talk shit all you want, but that is impressive.
It didn't blow up, right, Duff? It never did.
No, it didn't blow up. I was told I actually have the title of being the only Star mechanic to ever blow up a bike, and that was in 2022 with Christian Craig. And they actually kind of scolded me for that because I did zip tie the throttle wide open and walked away from it.
Oh, my God.
That's great.
How are Deegs bonuses? How is that's all done through Brian probably, or how is that?
Yeah, it's all.
But is it good? Is it compared to other riders? I mean, you work for some great guys, JB. You've been around. How?
Yeah, they're really good. They're actually really fair with.
Yep.
They have some pretty good bonuses, and they make sure that the people that put in work behind the scenes are well taken care of.
Yeah, that's good.
They've from day one, actually, that was one of our conversations, was making sure that everything was fair with all of us. So they've always looked out for me. So I'm really, really grateful for that.
Phil, what's your bonus schedule like for Cam?
What? Sorry, I don't know why I just glitched out. What'd you say?
What's your bonuses for your mechanic? Where are we at?
I give him 10%
of purse money.
No, of my actual bonuses, not AMA stuff.
Oh, so what bonuses are you getting from?
None, 0.
Dude, you got to give him some.
Why don't you just give him 50%?
0.0.
Give him 50% then.
Phil should do SMX. Will you do SMX money?
Yes. I gave Cam SMX. I gave Cam SMX bonuses and stuff, and I give my guys.
I'm going to throw this out there right now to every rider that's listening. SMX money, that is. Sure, it's considered purse money, but I don't care if you're a 20th place guy.
Yeah.
If you are not making bonus money all year, you are this time of year, take care of your guy. We bust our asses.
Yeah.
At least
100%.
take care of your guys.
I still bust RVs. Hey, I still bust RV's balls. When he won the $1 million from the U.S. Open or from the Monster Cup, Williamson got nothing because it wasn't an AMA race. It wasn't on the schedule for Supercross and Motocross. And I'm like, are you fucking for real? RV.
No shit, asshole.
Yeah, I'm like, are you for real? And by the way, so FYI, Phil, when I worked for Nick Way, I got 10% of Yamaha contingency, 10% of the purse money, and 10% of any bonuses. I got all of that, Phil.
Dang, there you go.
No, that's how it works. That's a good way for it to work out. When I was young, like I want to say 20 years old, I worked with Brock Sellards way back in the day, and he wasn't going to make any podium bonus or anything like that, so he gave me 10% of his AMA money.
Yeah.
And then JB took care of me accordingly because his bonuses and his pay was different, whether we were in America or Australia or Europe, everywhere else. And then even with the Deegans last year, the SMX, that wasn't, a Yamaha bonus money, but, so contractually you don't really have to take care of me, but, they made sure they did. So, it's nice when you work close with people and they do take care of you.
Yeah, listen, Nick Way's mom was in charge of that, and she was, a check would be there every week. Bam, bam, it was great. Red Dog, I had to claw and fight for any money, and Kelly Smith was okay, but when somebody's just on it, like Nick's mom was, it was great. Yeah. It just showed up every week. The check was there, and it was 10% of everything. So
if you won a championship, if Brock Sellers had won a championship, he probably would have given you one of his Volkswagen trucks, right?
Yeah,
yeah. I rode on his dad had a motorcycle with a sidecar, and I rode on the side of that. And I would have paid not to ride in that thing.
I did a podcast with Brock a few years ago. It's fucking unbelievable. He's talking about in the lounge of a truck. He got shot up by a veterinarian.
What?
At a race.
Yes, I heard that.
He had a shoulder injury. His buddy was a veterinarian, or his dad, somebody knew a veterinarian.
And he got shot by a veterinarian?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he built a home. He built his own airplane at home.
Yeah.
And he was telling me a story. He bought a bulldozer and used to build supercross tracks with it, and then he built a runway with it, and so he couldn't steer the airplane very well, and rolled it upside down.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's great. So Phil, wait, Duff, are you saying Yamaha didn't have an SMX contingency for these guys? Like, because I know talking to Mertz, when that SMX thing got thrown in there, from what I gather, Phil, maybe you can correct it. Mertz had to go in and be like, okay, like to all his clients, like, what are we doing for SMX? Because they've had a multi-year deal.
Right.
It's all laid out, but I don't think any rider should race even 3 races without some sort of bonuses. So he did have to scratch and claw, but I think, Phil, they got SMX bonuses for the most part from the OEMs, right? No?
I don't know.
Okay. I thought they did. Well, maybe not. Duff said
Yeah, I don't think it was in anyone's contract last year that they had to do it because it was thrown in there so last minute.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
that was one of those things they said we're going to revisit for this year. So,
Yeah.
Everyone, I think accordingly, if you're a good person, took care of everyone around them. But
Yeah,
I don't think the
100%.
manufacturers were required to pay bonuses.
By the way, OGO Power Sports bringing you is it Duffy or Duff? I've called you Duff.
It's Duffy. But everyone calls me Duff, but yeah, it's pronounced Duffy.
All right, it's Brent Duffy on the show,
Duffy.
brought to you by OGO Power Sports. Pulp 15 is the code to save with OGO, whether it's a travel bag, whether it's a gear bag, 9,800. If you're going for a couple nights, grab your 9,800 like Kiefer.
Yep.
And use Pulp 15 code to save at OGO Power Sports. Backpacks as well. Use that code and save. OGO Power Sports, bringing you Brent Duffy here on the show. Hey, I feel like Deegs, look, he was the fastest guy all year. He won the most races. There's no doubt about that. But I do feel at times, because like even late in the race, we saw his incredible charges. But I feel like, Brent, at times he was like, you know what? Especially recently, I got a lead. I don't quite need to catch this guy, or I don't need to kill myself. Unadilla comes to mind, or a couple other races. I feel like he rode with a little bit more maturity this year. And that's just being 1 year older and having more experience. But, I mean, I really felt like he was a little bit more mature.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed working with the kid, I started working with him when Christian left the team in 22. So fall of 22, we went to Minios together as amateur, and then moving up from there. And everything Brian always kept saying was, "This is a learning year. We have to gain experience and knowledge while he turns pro."
Mm-hmm.
And you hear it and you see it, but when you actually see him start applying it, it's like, wow, this kid actually is learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched him like study stuff and work technique and work everything he drills during the week. I see him apply it. So whether it's his riding or his racecraft, he does soak up knowledge. So yeah, I agree. He's learning how to race, and managing a championship is part of that. And I think that's obviously you see that too.
And look, it won't be a surprise if he wins Supercross next year, but man, I think he's just a better outdoor guy, and like he's going to win Supercross. He just makes some weird mistakes and everything else, and he's great at Supercross, but he's extra great at motocross, I feel. It seems so much more naturally. Do you agree, or do you think,
Yeah, but I think everyone is naturally good at motocross, but Hayden kind of right now, his style as like he's not a rookie, but as a rookie, as a younger racer, it suits motocross because he's still learning that technique, that pro racing technique where you have to be smoother at it. Like he just sends it. But if you look at 23 Hayden to 24 Hayden, he's really advanced his technique, and that shows in Supercross too. So I think just as the years progress and he keeps on working, he's going to progress there in Supercross as well. Like, I really am bummed that there was only 9 whoops in Supercross this year because there was a lot of work this offseason went into whoops.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been different. Obviously everything could have, should have everywhere. Detroit round 1 getting 16th. You can argue that one, but also Vial was back there with him as well, and Vial beat him by 4 points. But everyone had their good races and bad races. But I
like how
bring
Coop
back big whoops.
Yeah, I like how Coop came on the show and was like, cool, man, no dragon backs and whoops. Well, we have 2 dragon backs on our tracks we've been riding with all off season. Would have been nice to have a little bit of heads up.
Risking our lives during the week.
Yeah, like a little nice heads up at some point that you guys were going to implement these pretty big changes. And I agree, like, let's face it, Vial comes from Europe. Whoops aren't his specialty. Jump. He works with Marvin Muscan, who was perhaps the king It helped Bial. It really did. There's no doubt about it. Hey, by the way, thank you for that side plate for a little girl in the UK that is a daughter of a buddy of mine, and I appreciate you making that happen. By the way, Lewis put it on Twitter, so
that's cool.
Yeah.
I saw. You're welcome. Hayden's got.
What's that?
Some of these people always want a lot of stuff. So it's nice to give people some stuff when I can. Yeah. Obviously, I can't give everyone everything, but I do like to hook some people up when I can.
Talking about that, and one of my questions for you, Brant, it's fucking insane. The line in the truck, the people around the truck. I know he's been changing in the 450 truck for a little bit more peace and quiet. The non-moto fans, the moto fans, the YouTube following, the autograph lines. I mean, you two have seen it at the races.
That's crazy.
Brent, it's nuts. It's out of hand, man.
It's insane, isn't it? It's crazy. The fans start chanting Deegan everywhere, and sometimes you get a team that's pitted across from us that's not normally pitted near us, and they get to experience it firsthand. It's insane. Like, you can't. When we leave our truck and go past the other trucks, it's like, oh, maybe, I guess there really aren't that many people in the pits. They're all just over here. So it's pretty cool to see that. And I wonder actually how many of those fans are new to, not new to the sport, but new to coming to the races. I think he brings in a lot of new people.
I agree. I bet you, I don't know what percent, but some
lots
good
of
percent.
YouTube people, I would assume, right?
Yeah. Some good percent of that would be these people that don't know the sport that well, but are coming to see Hayden and Hudson and and all of that, right?
I still think it's cool. Like, I know you don't like some of the stuff that he says on the podium, but
I don't, and I was going to get to that.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Brent. Look, I'm old as shit. I've told you this in private. I can't believe some of the things he says on the podium. I don't get it. I don't get the game. I don't understand this. I don't like it. I just want him to be himself. But where you stand with some of that? Do you talk to him about that? I mean, do you? What am I just the old man yelling at clouds here, and I shouldn't worry about it? Like,
yeah, I kind of feel like you're the old man yelling at clouds, but I also see where you're coming from at it too. Like, he speaks his mind, but some of the shit talking is maybe just to see what someone else is going to say back to him, and some of it's real.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you're kicking everyone's ass, how are you going to motivate yourself? Like, it just,
I guess,
have someone there to talk shit back to you so you have a reason to want to beat them even harder.
I think Ricky did that too, but Ricky just kept it internal. He didn't tell everybody. Yeah. I know Ricky was like that because I've seen it. I've seen that side of him firsthand. When he was whooping everybody's ass, he was building up the biggest grudge against Timmy or Chad or Wyndham or whatever, and it was motivating him for sure. I get that. That's great. But then Ricky would just be like, "Yeah, man, rode a good race, thanks to the team." And but Hayden's like, "Yeah, Hymas is cooked."
Right.
So,
hey, there has been times where we're underneath the podium, we're underneath the tent, and before he goes up, and we say, "Hey, make sure you acknowledge this and this," and he's just a little wound up, and he's like, "Nope, I'm gonna roast this guy." And Brian is like, "No, you got to reel it in a little bit." And Hayden's himself, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it. Sometimes we tell him maybe back it down a little bit, but you can't really hold that kid back, and I don't want to try to hold him back.
Yeah, I don't, and I come from the thing of like, why make these enemies? Why get Kitchen mad saying he's not in shape and Hymas took him out, and like, don't let the sleeping dogs lie and just kick their ass out on the track. That's where I'm at, but I'm old.
As a fan point of view for me, I like it because I'm not Brian or Hayden. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. But as a fan watching, I like different flavors. I don't know how long we had Dungy on there. It was just boring as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't mind the shit talking. It gets other guys amped up. I think secretly the other riders kind of like it too because it gives them an excuse to say something as well. Like, I just think it's fun for the fans to see something different than all the same shit. We've been watching this sport for how many years, and how often do we get a guy like Hayden that stirs the pot? We don't ever get it. So for me, it's entertainment for me to watch. Yeah. Like, I can't wait to see what he says.
Like, so fair point. But even the J-Law stuff for me back in the day, I'm like, come on, J-Law. Like,
I think J-Law's more than Hayden. Like, J-Law's way beyond Hayden. I don't think Hayden's...
J-Law was a little over the top.
Yeah.
Where Hayden will talk a little shit, but then also we come back off the podium. under the easy ups behind the podium, and him and Levi, they're talking. Like they're buddies.
Right, yeah.
Like they're actually friends, and then they might get up and take a couple stabs at each other, and then go laugh about it underneath the tent in the back.
Sure.
And then also like Hymus, he's kind of a plain kid, so maybe Hayden pushing the envelope there a little bit bumps him up a little bit,
Yeah.
Maybe spices that kid up a little while.
So back to being popular, Duff. I was on McGrath's team in '99 with Timmy, and McGrath only did Summercross and Washougal that year. But
how do you do at Summercross?
Oh yeah, Timmy beat him. Thanks, Duff. Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up.
Defending champion.
Timmy won. It was a great night. Point I'm being is I saw RL Randy Lawrence, like he's like torquing his triple clamps, Brent, and he's reaching over and signing autographs with one hand and then going back to. Are we at that stage yet for you?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy actually.
Duffy signing autographs.
I love it.
Nice.
So I've actually I reel it back on Saturdays. Like I do have my work, and it's cool. I get the acknowledgement from all the fans. Everyone yells my name. I really do like that. It's pretty cool. But I can't give them the interaction that they want on Saturdays. But Fridays I can hang out all day long, and that's pretty fun. But Saturdays I get at least feel the love from all the fans and maybe take a couple photos here and there. But also I work on Star, so I've got a lot of expectation, and there's a lot of work to do there. Like it takes a lot to keep a factory motorcycle race ready all day, so I can give some fans some acknowledgement, but I can't really step away. And I get about 10 free minutes a day to eat my lunch.
You know what I think about it when this comes up? Of all the shrapnel and the hot moms that will come around.
I
Duff.
knew you were going to say chick.
Yeah.
Like you were the horniest dude I know.
Like for me, that's where I go to. I'm like, dude, Duffy's got like just these cougar chicks that, oh my gosh, good for you, brother.
No, I wish.
Good for you, man.
It's really not that way.
Dang it.
It's all these
cougs.
Like, girls. It's all these little girls Hudson's age, and they're, hey, where's Hayden? Where's Hudson?
Yeah.
Like, where's your mother and your aunt?
That's what I said. That's what I would have thought. They would have brought their moms with them, and maybe mom's like good looking. You never know, right?
Yeah. I just remember watching RL because RL was a little bit of a celebrity too for downhill, right? Mountain biking, he was really good at that, and I was just like, look at that, McGrath, RL, and the guy from Friends are all talking, and McGrath, RL, and guy from Motley Crue are all talking, and hey guys, I'm over here. Hey. No one cared. Yeah, no one cared. But yeah, so I just pictured Duffy doing that. Brent, I've understand too a little bit. Brian, from what I understand, Brian jumps on the bike once in a while to test some stuff. Still riding a little bit.
Yeah, when Hayden rides at the farm, Brian shows up and he brings his bikes and he rides almost every day that Hayden rides. And then you say we make a big change. Sometimes Brian's like, I would like to ride the bike and just feel it for myself because, he's got a really good eye. Like he's probably older than you, Steve, which is crazy. And but he's actually still fast on a motorcycle. So
unlike me.
Wow. That was a double jab. I like
fine.
it.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
But no, he's still fast. He throws down on a motorcycle still. And
I'm sure.
He's got skill and he's got input in all forms of racing. So he sees a lot of the bike setup, and then he's actually a pretty big influence on bike setup. So when we do make a major change, he likes to kind of. This is not an every week thing. This is maybe once every 2 or 3 months he'll go ride the bike for a little bit and just kind of get a feeling of what the new setup feels like or where we're at right now, just to kind of refresh his memory, because sometimes you watch a motorcycle over and over and over. Sometimes you have to ride it and feel it and kind of reassure yourself of what that is. And it's just cool to, as close as he is with Hayden, to have someone there that can give us feedback as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Brett Duffy here on the show, brought to you by OGO Power Sports. Pulp 15 is a code to save with OGO. So are we back in for MXDN? Sounds like Hayden said, like, at first there was some hardware getting out, and now he's not maybe committed, but it sounds like he's more committed in some interviews.
I mean, I know he wants to go.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of red tape to cross, and I want to go. I think it'd be awesome to go. We wanted to go last year and a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. So it would be amazing to go this year. I guess stay tuned is really all I can say, because I'm kind of in the dark on it as well, but I've been I've been pressing it, I think, harder than anyone else, mainly because I don't want to be in the middle of SMX and be told, we need some motorcycles built and shipped right now.
Yeah.
By the way, you're home 2 days this week. So
Yep.
I'd like to know sooner than later if we're going to go, but
For sure.
it'd be awesome.
Hey, did you start out at Traders? Is that where you first started out?
So I actually started years ago. Like when I said I worked with Brock Sellers, that was a long time ago. And,
Yeah.
so I was making, junk money.
Was
as a
that
young
practice
kid
bike
and,
guy? Like, what was that?
With Brock? No,
Yeah.
I was doing some race stuff. We did arena cross and then supercross.
Oh, yeah, he did arena
actually,
cross, right?
It was on Rick Ware Racing. So
Wow.
back in like 2007, I think.
Wow.
And did some privateer stuff here and there, and then went to college. I actually got into flying airplanes for a little while, and then realized hey, I want to get back into wrenching. And then Gary Luckett from Traders got me a job, and Kenny Day was our team manager. I actually mechanic for Tony Archer.
Oh, you did? Okay, you worked for Archer.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he worked with Forkner,
Yeah.
and now he just left and went to NASCAR. So
Right.
it was cool. I worked at Traders, and then from Traders I went to BTO KTM, and then that's when I got linked up with Justin Brayton until the end of 21.
Yep.
Didn't really know what I was going to do after that. Went to Phoenix Honda for like 5 months.
Oh, that didn't go well. I remember that. That didn't go well.
No, it was fun. I enjoyed it because
okay.
we did some a couple Supercrosses. I did a bunch of GNCCs. Actually, loved the GNCCs.
Did you? Yeah.
I loved it. I really, really, really wanted to do it. Went to a bunch of they have an ATV MX team.
Yeah.
So I went and watched Joel Hetrick whoop up on some people for a couple weekends, and then the Star deal came about when they moved to Florida, and I took that, and
So-
I didn't want to leave Charlotte, and left Charlotte, came to Tallahassee, and here we are.
Listen, we know you're signing autographs, you're getting bonus money, you're banging MILFs. It's good. We know
Let's
that.
go.
Duffy, we know that. But
You assume that.
we know it's good. And I'm not trying to make you but dude, the JB program. Aussie for a couple of months, some soupies.
Yeah, travel.
Jay Brayton's one of the best dudes out there in the world. I mean, pretty sweet deal.
I was spoiled. I think every mechanic in the industry was jealous of my program back
For
then.
sure.
because I would
For
do Supercross. I had all summer off, and I lived in Charlotte. I went out on Lake Norman every
Nice.
weekend for 3 months, and then
Yeah.
we'd go to Australia for 3 months, and then we'd go to Europe. And
Dude.
It's a good deal.
I had the best program ever. I actually loved Australia. I went there 4 years in a row. Heck, I went there last fall and visited my friends down on the Sunshine Coast for 2 weeks. And actually, before I took the Star deal, I reached out to my friends in the Sunshine Coast about going and working at his motorcycle shop.
Just to
because I
live
wanted
there.
I wanted to go live in Australia.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
Possible
that's
you have
actually
any
not
children down
out of the
there?
question.
Possible you have any children in Australia that we don't know of?
Oh, maybe the old me had ran a different program back in the day, so possibly.
Listen, and Brayton's easy on a bike too, and you talk about how hard you work, and you do at Star every day. It's a grind. You're deep into it. JB though, it's just yeah, man, how's the clutch? Good. All right, cool. No testing, same setup for 3 years. Just I mean,
It was so nice. We're actually JB was at the race this weekend.
Yeah, I saw
him. And we're talking about how he says he wasn't difficult to work for, and he really wasn't. He was just kind of particular on handlebars, levers,
Right.
grips, and the
Yeah.
shock. So
Okay.
if you had those couple key parts right, everything was easy. So it was really nice working with JB, but actually taught me to be precise. So that was a good skill to pick up early on.
yeah. And then when he was at Factory Honda, you were his practice bike guy, right? Then
At Factory Honda, I was a race guy. We went to
When?
Moto Concepts
Mo-
in 17.
that was
I
it.
was
You
a
were-
race guy.
but then you
the
butted
first
heads.
year.
Yeah, and then
And then I didn't get along with management there too well, so they let me know a week before we flew out of Australia that I wouldn't be on the team. So, but yeah, I was practice guy, 18, 19 at MCR,
Yeah.
and then when we went to Factory Honda, JB brought me up with him in 2020.
That's
How old are you
right.
now, Duffy?
I will be 38 this
Oh,
weekend.
still young. Yeah.
Hey, we got a question for you from Briggs on line 1. Go ahead, Briggs. What's your question for Brett?
Hey, congratulations on the championship. I'm sure you're pumped. I wanted to ask, what the transition was like going from,